Hi, Dolly Friends. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us today. Now, look, if you're new here today, welcome. My name is Kitty, and with my daughter Totty, we are a doll collecting duo from Australia. Spring has arrived in Australia, and the wattle and the cherry blossoms are blooming. The weather is glorious, so I'm going to change this little dolly today into some lovely springwear and have a chat with you about a topic. So first, let me introduce you to Arabella Rose. Isn't she gorgeous? She is a Reborn doll. She is the Loulou kit by Joanna Kazmierczak, and she's in a lovely baptism outfit. It looks like a baptism outfit with a white lacy bonnet and this really pretty dress with lace trim and ribbons. And she's got her little signature socks that she always wears. And of course, there's a matching set of bloomers. And this is the little outfit that I dress Arabella in when she's not YouTubing. So basically, our nursery is in the colours of pink and white. And so when all the little dolls are not doing something on YouTube, they tend to have a go-to outfit, and this is little Arabella's go-to outfit. So what am I going to change her in today? Well, let's go through the details of that. Given that it's spring, there's going to be a lovely spring-inspired outfit. Look at this gorgeous romper. Isn't it lovely? It's so pretty. Pinks. There's sort of a rusty orange colour. There's creams. This little romper is so vintage looking. The broderie anglaise, trim detail at the bottom of the skirt, and it actually crosses over at the back and ties. This is such a sweet romper and perfect for spring. Underneath, I'm actually going to put this long sleeve ribbed onesie that has the little butterfly sleeves, or the little flutter sleeves. Because although it's spring, it's still cold in Australia, so that'll look really lovely underneath. I've got some really sweet matching knee-high length socks with pretty ribbons. So for once, I'll actually be taking Arabella out of her regular signature socks. And look at this headband. This is so lovely and vintage looking. Let me bring that up to the camera. Isn't that beautiful? So that's the beautiful headband that she's going to wear with this outfit. So I'll move on to today's topic, which you can see from the video thumbnail. So what's brought on today's topic? Well, I'm going to put up on screen a screenshot, and this is the reason for addressing this topic today. Recently, a Reborn artist tagged me into one of their posts on social media. Now, I don't follow this artist on social media, but I would like to correct some points made in their post. I think it's very important. So as you can see from this Reborn artist's post, just take a look and read it. Unfortunately, they're in a situation where they're really financially struggling at the moment and cannot afford to purchase authentic Reborn doll kits. And they're considering purchasing Reborn doll kits from platforms like Amazon, and claim that they are beginning to believe it is not wrong to buy and sell them because of something that they've seen in our 6-part video series about manufacturing in China. Now, look, I really sympathise with this individual. Things are financially tough all around the world. But look, I want to make it absolutely crystal clear that I will not tolerate anyone, any individual, twisting my words to suit their own agenda. The message in our 6-part video series about manufacturing in China is very clear, and we have never, in these videos encouraged others to purchase copycat products in any form. The information contained in our 6-part video series on manufacturing in China identified the many risks and challenges individuals face when they choose to manufacture their products in China, and we also provided various solutions that can be implemented to reduce the individual's products from being copied by Chinese factories when they manufacture in China. So the main purpose of the 6-part video series was to provide some broad guidance to individuals who are considering manufacturing their products in China. And the key take-home point from the entire series was to encourage individuals to seek proper legal assistance before engaging with a Chinese manufacturer or manufacturing in China. It's as simple as that. To quickly summarise the 6-part video series, part 1 was an introduction video. It basically provided information about intellectual property and contract agreements in China, and there was also a broad discussion about how Chinese factories copy products. And the subsequent videos, they went into a lot more in-depth information about various topics. For example, in part 2, we discussed how intellectual property operates under Chinese law when foreigners manufacture in China. In part 3, we addressed contract agreements and specifically why they are so important, so key when manufacturing in China. We also had a lengthy discussion about the importance of conducting due diligence. So that's a process that you undertake to see whether a business is legitimate to do business with. There's a lot of background checks involved. As well as we described how Chinese factories go about legally copying their clients' products, and we finished with how to pursue infringements in China. And part 4 addressed supply chain risks and examples of how easy it was for an individual's product to end up in the hands of a factory or factories outside their supply chain, and we provided useful solutions to address this problem. In part 5, we provided an overview of the business culture in China, and we also provided examples of how business is conducted differently in China to the Western world, and encouraged individuals to really think long and hard about whether Chinese business culture aligns with their own beliefs and morals when conducting business. Finally, in part 6, we addressed foreign judgments, which are basically court rulings made in favour of the individual in their own home country. Now, many types of foreign judgments are not recognised in China, including those relating to intellectual property. And we explained that just because you have won your court case in your own country, it does not automatically mean that your foreign judgment will be recognised in the Chinese courts, which essentially means you are powerless in getting money out of the factory who has done wrong by you. Again, we offered some suitable solutions. So now that I have cleared up a number of these discrepancies, I'd like to offer some really useful advice to the Reborn artist who tagged me into their post. First of all, I'm kindly asking you, please do not twist the information in our video series to suit your own agenda. Look, I feel very sorry for the situation that you're in. I can really sympathise with you and many others around the world who are just doing it so tough at the moment because of what's happened with the pandemic. But that has nothing to do with our video series. This Reborn artist, they're not alone. Many people around the world are really feeling the financial strain since the pandemic. I mean, a really good example is that it's just recently been reported that groceries have gone up 27%. And this is due to the on-off nature of the pandemic, which has affected global supply chains. And, another example is gas, or what we call petrol in Australia. It's frightfully expensive at the moment, and it's all to do with supply and demand. So when we're all at home in lockdowns, and particularly in Australia, we were in a lot of lockdowns. And of course, that drove the prices down with gas or petrol. But as the pandemic restrictions have eased, obviously fuel demands have increased, and that means the prices increase, as well as the war in Ukraine has disrupted Russian oil supplies, which has also caused a spike in prices. Now, these are economic issues, and people will understandably look to save money when the cost of living rises or spikes, but that has nothing to do with our video series. Now, I've been a doll collector for over 40 plus years, and we have always made it very clear at our channel, my personal preference is to collect authentic dolls because of long-term investment purposes. We want the real deal. We don't want the copy or the duplicate or whatever you want to call it. Having said that, I suspect a couple of my daughter's play dolls, which I purchased from Amazon, could potentially be copies of Reborn sculpts. However, I have not been able to identify which sculpt they may potentially be. And at the time of purchasing them, which was a few years ago now, we were quite new to Reborn collecting and were completely unaware of these various issues within the Reborn industry. Look, I also want to make it clear that we don't police other people's dolls or their choices. At our channel, we place people over consumables. And that's what dolls, that's what they are. They're essentially consumables. We are happy in our little corner of the world, having fun and playing with our dolls. And look, we hope you are too. Personally, I lead a very busy life with work and family, lots of travel. I've got lots of life goals. I'm on the go all the time. And I simply do not have time for this schoolyard nonsense from the Reborn community about who owns the best or worst doll. I just don't care for it. It is first world problems. It is embarrassing how much focus is put on this. It really, really is. It's first world problems. Go and get some life goals. If this is, the biggest thing that you're worried about in life, seriously. Oh my goodness, how precious is she looking just in this little onesie? Oh, this is just gorgeous. Oh, you are so precious, Bella. I am loving this on her. It's so pretty. Okay, let's get your little romper on now. So look, to the Reborn artist who tagged me into their post, you mentioned that you fear the backlash you would receive if you paint and sell Reborn dolls that have potentially been copied. And the reason why I say potentially is that if a sculpt artist has not globally protected their work properly with the appropriate intellectual property and manufacturing contracts when they manufacture in China, then these duplicate kits may not be considered a copy or illegal in the courts. Let me make this very clear. It is the courts, not individuals, who make the rulings as to whether products have been illegally copied. And they make these decisions based on intellectual property merits. For example, evidence in court. Another point that's well worthwhile mentioning is that just because an individual wins their infringement claim in their own country, it does not automatically mean that their foreign judgment will be recognised in China. Given that the majority of assets owned by Chinese companies are located in China, individuals will need to lodge their foreign judgments with the Chinese courts for it to be recognised. And to date, this has had minimal success. Please refer to our part 6 of our video series on foreign judgments, which clearly explains why there are these difficulties getting foreign judgments recognised in China. It's a real eye-opener. Another point well worth mentioning is that what is considered legal in China is quite likely considered illegal in the eyes of the law elsewhere around the world. Before you change your business model and hit the click to cart button on Amazon, AliExpress or eBay, I strongly encourage this reborn artist or anyone else thinking about doing the same to seek legal professional advice about this business practice to ascertain whether it's actually legal in your own country. For example, here in Australia, copyright piracy and trademark counterfeiting are illegal, and individuals may be legally prosecuted if they buy pirated or counterfeit items over the internet, and it's the Australian Customs who seize the goods when they enter Australia. Just because certain Chinese factories have found legal loopholes in China to duplicate kits for their own production, it does not mean that it's legal everywhere else in the world. The laws are different in each country, and you need to check what the legal requirements are in your own country so that you're not chased down by your customs, or alternatively, the sculptor may take legal issue with you selling the duplicated version of their product. This can certainly potentially be a real problem if the sculptor lives in the same country as you and they have registered their designs or copyrights or patents in the country where you both reside. That can cause a lot of legal issues, so please keep that in mind. So for those reborn artists who are struggling to afford genuine kits, have you considered going back to the original method of reborning instead? So for example, stripping back and reborning dolls like Behringers, or purchasing second-hand dolls would be far less expensive than genuine kits, and you could reborn those, and that would allow you to sell your dolls at a much lower price, which is much more attractive to customers who are feeling the same financial strain since the pandemic. Over the years, I've seen some amazing work done on all sorts of dolls, not just baby dolls like Behringers. There is an Australian artist, Sonia Singh, Singh. Check her out on YouTube. She's become well known for stripping back the gaudy makeup on Bratz dolls and giving them a more natural look. I encourage you to do your research and look for resourceful ways to help your business grow and succeed during these difficult financial times, and make sure you seek legal advice to ensure that what you're proposing to do is legal. On a final note, I just want to make it clear that we do not involve ourselves in these back and forth arguments over whether certain products have been illegally or legally copied. We leave that up to the courts. That's their job to make those decisions. And as far as the sculptors are concerned, look, our channel gifted you with a 6-part video series to assist you with navigating the various challenges and complexities of manufacturing in China. The biggest takeaway from the video series is that you should be seeking proper legal advice before manufacturing your products in a foreign country. I cannot stress that enough. with what I see going on. Look, we created this 6-part video series after we saw a group of sculptors publicly ridicule a Reborn artist who stood up for their cause against illegal kits. And that Reborn artist was nearly sued in the process. Those sculptors should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for their behaviour, because they were caught out afterwards, big time. For those who are not aware of what went on, a very high profile Reborn artist purchased one of these, I guess you'd call it copy, silicone dolls from an online platform like Amazon that she assumed was illegal because of all this hoo-ha that we hear in the community, that basically, there's this message out there in the community that all dolls on AliExpress and Amazon and eBay are illegal. And this Reborn artist did a box opening on her YouTube channel, and she made all sorts of claims in support of the sculptors and their art. Well, afterwards, she was contacted by the company who sells the doll, and she was threatened with legal action. It was a very, very scary situation. The Chinese company produced contracts which proved the sculptor had given them legal permission, which allowed them to produce, X amount of silicone dolls for their own use. Now, anyone who knows something about business and manufacturing, this is called a licensing agreement, and I have discussed licensing agreements at length in our previous videos. In addition, this Chinese company gave the Reborn artist an ultimatum, and this is where it kind of gets scary. She was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Under this agreement, the artist had to remove the video in question from YouTube and is not allowed to publicly discuss the specific details that she saw in this contract. And she also had to get on her channel and talk about how she wrongfully accused the company of doing anything illegal. If she did not comply with all these conditions, she was going to be sued. So after this all went down, a number of these sculptors publicly ridiculed this Reborn artist on social media, basically implying that she was a liar and that no such contracts exist. They also admitted that they had never signed any contracts with their Chinese factories when they produced any of their own kits. Ding, 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 dong. I've always had suspicions that one of the reasons why kits are being copied is due to the lack of global intellectual property protection and a lack of contracts. And this select group of sculptors had proven my suspicions, and I actually included screenshots of their conversations in part 1, 2 and 3 of our video series. And look, this is precisely why at our channel we leave the sculptors to sort out their own business. We stay out of it. Through their own foolishness, they have publicly admitted that there are some who do not protect their work properly. And then these people want sympathy from collectors when their work, according to them, has been stolen. They have also demonstrated, these sculptors, that they show zero support to someone who was potentially going to be sued for supporting their cause. That is the part that really upsets me the most about all of this. Like, someone went in to bat for them, created this video supporting them, and then they get themselves in trouble, and then these people are completely silent, and then there's a backlash of them trying to accuse her of lying. Despicable behaviour. Can I tell you, I've had a number of private conversations with this individual, some legal in nature. I'm not sure whether everyone's aware, but my professional background outside of YouTube, I have a professional background in economics, business and law. And this person, I can assure you, is not lying. This person has a massive following on social media. They are monetized and they get thousands and thousands of views on their videos. It just boggles my mind because I'm a small channel. You know, how many views they get. Believe me, you would not remove a monetized video, a popular monetized video from your YouTube that is popular and making you a ton of money unless you are forced to do so. Look, most of us have the good fortune of being small channels. So these big companies, honestly, they will not waste their time coming after. We're small fish. They don't care. I've seen some individuals, I'm aware of them on YouTube, you know, they've got subscriptions between 5 and 15,000. They're small fry. They are nothing in the world of YouTube. These big companies couldn't care less what they're saying. You know, these doll police that get out there and rah, rah, rah all the time. These big companies don't care about them because they're so small fry and just they couldn't care less. Let me assure you, once you get a following, a big following, like you're popular on YouTube, you've got a huge following, and I'm talking 500,000 to 1 million subscribers, be warned, these companies will come after you if you don't have your facts straight. And that's what happened in the case of this Reborn artist. So I cannot urge this enough. Please be careful with what accusations you make online because you will find yourself in legal trouble. Intellectual property, it's a private property right, and it's up to individuals who manufacture their products to protect and monitor their intellectual property on a global scale and to follow up on any types of infringements with the courts, etc. They can also license their products. They can sell their molds for others to use. That's their business, not mine. So I just stay well out of it. So what is the key lesson that can be learned from this experience? Doll collectors and consumers are not informed of or privy to all the business deals that go on behind closed doors between sculptors and factories. So these careless assumptions that are often made within the Reborn community, that all the dolls and kits available from these online platforms like Amazon are illegal, is incorrect. For sure, there would be some dolls and kits that have been copied and potentially illegally copied if the sculptor has protected their work properly. But as you now know, there are circumstances where this is not the case and sculptors have either licensed or perhaps even sold their moulds to factories and are not sharing this information with collectors, nor are they obliged to do so. They are entitled to run their business how they see fit, but it does reinforce the importance as collectors in this hobby to exercise caution about supporting certain causes and making certain assumptions without knowing all the facts. And what a terrible situation that Reborn artist was placed in. She has loyally supported the sculptors and financially invested in their work, believing this narrative about illegal stolen kits, only to discover that in some circumstances there's secret deals going on. So much for loyalty being a two-way street. So just keep having fun with your dolls and enjoy your hobby and try to block out all this noise and nonsense that flares up from time to time within the community. I can assure you that you are going to enjoy this hobby much, much more if your focus is making friendships in our community rather than nitpicking and whinging about someone else's doll collection choices. And that's why at our channel, our focus is really promoting things that are important to us, like making friendships with like-minded people in our community and having fun with our dolls. Yes, from time to time I'll have these discussions because I think they're sort of important to have, but for the most part it's just supporting our other dolly friends. So keep that as your primary focus, people over consumables, and you're going to really enjoy this hobby for a long time. So that's a wrap on our Dolly chat today. Let's do a once over on this lovely, precious little girl's outfit. Oh my goodness, she is just so scrumptious and sweet. Here's a close-up of this gorgeous headband. I love the lace details with the pretty pink flower and pearl details. Oh, look at this precious sleeping face. What a cutie pie. And these flutter sleeves look adorable on this onesie. Love this little spring outfit with the frilly trim and these gorgeous knee-high socks. Oh, she's such a precious, precious girl. Thank you so much, Dolly Friends, for joining us today. Please remember to like and subscribe and comment on our channel, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Bye for now.